Hey team, you're watching Hide and Sneaks, and I think there's a bit of a gap in the sneaker market. There is so many pop culture inspired fashion outfits, but I haven't seen that sort of love treated to the sneaker rotations. So I went about changing that by creating my 7-day sneaker rotation series, and today it's inspired by... Sorry, that was way too tempting. I really wanted to do that because it's such a cool transition and title card that really stands out on the show. With season 3 coming back, there's going to be a lot of interest on Omni-Man, Invincible, what happens with the Viltrumites, and the overall Guardians. So to build hype and excitement for the new season, I wanted to have a look at that sneaker series inspired by them. Starting things off with our first pair in our sneaker rotation inspired by Invincible, and that is the Nike Air Zoom Flight 95 in football grey. And this might seem like an unusual choice to start off with, but the reason I've chosen this is it's a bit of a nod to Mark's suit. The iconic goggles he has is a real standout about his uniform as opposed to other superheroes in pop culture media, and I thought the little accents of the little pods on the side did a great nod to that. So I think it's a great inclusion to make a nod to the main character of the show. Up next, the second day of my 7-day sneaker rotation inspired by Invincible. And this pair we're looking at is inspired by the hothead of the Guardians, Rexplode. Now Rexplode is a bit of an interesting character. He says the quips and a lot of the stuff that at times the audience is thinking. So to capture a pair that was inspired by Rexplode, I had to have a pair that kind of captured his overall aesthetic, color scheme and powers, and I came up with this pair here. That is the Nike SB Dunk High Sweet Tooth Candy Corn. Now one of the things I like about this is they're called the candy corns. Now candy corn candy's obviously been responsible for a lot of people losing teeth, and Rexplode himself, he's pretty familiar with losing some teeth from his situations. So I thought that was quite a cool nod. But what I also liked about this is it not only works in with his uniform, but it works in with his powers. Now his powers is to be able to make matter unstable, which creates the explosion. And to me, what I like about how this translates to the shoe is if you look at the sort of gradient of the yellow and the red, it kind of looks like an explosion's happening on the shoe. So it's kind of like he's charged the shoe up and it's about to explode. So I think it captures both his powers and the overall color scheme of his suit really, really well. Up next, my third pair in the 7-day rotation inspired by Invincible is this pair here. It's the Nike Blazer Mid Sacai White Black Legend Blue. Now why I've chosen this one is because of the Sacai treatment that happens. Now the Sacai collaborations we've seen in the past have been some really cool stuff where they double up on everything. Double swooshes, double laces, double tongues, double trouble. And when we think about Double Trouble and Invincible, we've got to talk about the Mauler twins. Man, they are such a fascinating character set because they get into such trouble. The banter between them as kind of clone brothers is hilarious. Who's the clone? We don't know. And it's the same thing that we see here on the Sacai Blazer pair here as well. What is the original swoosh? Is it the white one? Is it the blue one? I don't know. It's clone trouble. It captured the overall aesthetic pretty well. And of all the Sacai releases that have happened, I think this one is the perfect choice for it because it ties in that sort of white and blue aesthetic to match in with the color scheme of the overall Mauler twins. Up next, we have my fourth pair in the 7-day sneaker rotation inspired by Invincible. And this pair is inspired by Adam Eve. Now Adam Eve's power sets is she can effectively control and change all the molecules around her and do just absolutely crazy godlike stuff. Now the pair that I've chosen for that is the Jordan 1 High OG Defiant SB New York City to Paris. Now why I like this pair as a choice for Adam Eve is it's a pair that's meant to be a skateboard pair that when you use and wear, it breaks down and there's actually a secondary colorway underneath the top. So once you scratch off that grey layer, there's a pink layer underneath. I kind of like that because it's kind of like almost like you're changing the reality of a pair, similar to the power set of Adam Eve. So I thought it was a creative way to kind of make a nod both from a color scheme point of view by adding a bit of pink in there, but also making a nod to her power. Up next, we have the day 5 pair of my 7-day sneaker rotation inspired by Invincible. And this pair has the hero's name in the name. Look, I know most of the pairs I try to do, I find are a little bit more exciting or something that you'd rock, and maybe a running shoe pair isn't really interesting. But the color scheme of the suit perfectly matches, and obviously it's in the name. This is the Nike Zoom X. Sorry, happened again. And that is the Nike Zoom X Invincible Run 3 Black Racer Blue High Vol White colorway. It's perfectly in the aesthetic and matching his overall Invincible suit. It's got Invincible in the name. It's pretty clear cut and dry. Moving on to day 6 in my 7-day sneaker rotation inspired by Invincible. I know we've all been waiting for it, and it is the pair inspired by Omni-Man. There's so many different ways that I wanted to go about this. I thought about living in his shadow, making me go to the shadows. I thought the status symbol of him and going to Chicago's. But then I got really creative and I came across this pair, which was the Nike LeBron Ohio State. Now, first of all, it matches really, really well with that white and red aesthetic of Omni-Man. But what's great about it is because it's an Ohio State pair, they've got the Ohio State logo on the side, and that red O is really reminiscent of the O that we see on Omni-Man's chest. So I think it's a great tie in there. If you want to go for a little bit more depth and connection, obviously Omni-Man's so well known for his mustache, and one of the cool parts about the LeBron 4 was that fold over strap to keep his ankles in place. So it kind of is like the mustache of shoes. So I think all in all, it's a good status strong pair. Moving into my final day, day 7 of the 7-day sneaker rotation inspired by Invincible. There's a pretty cool character I think we've missed. I think Robot's a really important character to the show because he helps add sort of order and structure and kind of keeps the storyline progressing with a little bit of relevance. Because let's face it, the Guardians are an absolute crazy lot of people, and if they didn't have any order, it'd be insane. Now, thinking about a pair that kind of captures that aesthetic of Robot, I could go the tech route, but the way I actually wanted to go was a sort of metallic metal route. And the pair that came to mind for me was a Nike Foamposite in the copper colorway. Now, what I like about this pair is it looks metallic and it so easily matches in with the overall aesthetic of Robot. And when you look at the construction of Robot, he's got lots of panels and sort of parts that kind of create visual interest to his overall design. I think the Foamposite does a really good job of kind of creating that texture as well. It's that same sort of rosy metal sort of coppered look. And to me, I think it's a really good tie-in with Robot and looks exactly like him. Well, that's that. That is the 7-day sneaker rotation inspired by... Damn it keeps happening. That was a 7-day sneaker rotation inspired by Invincible. Now, I do plan on continuing the 7-day sneaker rotation series with other pop culture brands, so do let me know which one I should do in the comment section below. Maybe it's Harry Potter, Batman, Superman, X-Men. Heck, after all the NBA talks with the Lakers and the Mavericks, maybe I do one of those teams. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.